Hello everyone, my name is Elias and today I will show you how you can set up the QL-300 printer easily. The QL-300 printer is toner base 5-color CMYK and white. We also offer 4-color model CMYK in case you don't need to print white. Before we get started unpacking the QL-300 printer, let's make sure we prepare the installation area. For example, we have strong table, can carry the QL-300 printer and Unwinder about 140 pounds. It's also close to the power outlet. By the way, make sure you have the correct power source, 110 or 220 depending on the printer model that you have. The humidity is also important in the area where the printer is installed. The humidity has to be between 30% to 70% relative humidity. Anything outside that range can affect the print quality. For more information about these requirements, please refer to the user guide. And now, without any further delay, let's get started unpacking the QL-300 printer. First, let's check for the included kit. The included kit has media satin chart that helps you set up your profiles for the material that you are going to use. We also have flyer for our software that can guide you how to install it and use it. There's the USB cable that you can use to connect the printer to your computer after you install the driver. And also we have a card to contact our technical support. And we have offset label that you can attach it to the front of the printer. It will guide you to make offset adjustments after printing if needed. And now let's unpack the QL-300 printer. Here we have the printer and Unwinder. We can just remove the straps or you can cut them. You can use a utility knife to cut the plastic around the printer and Unwinder. Now we can remove the shipping foam. Here we have the power cable. And now we can cut the protective band. Now we unpack the QL-300 printer. We are ready to move it and put it on the table. The QL-300 printer is heavy. However, it's equipped with 4 handles to carry it from. There's one here, and 2 on the other side as well. We don't want to carry the QL-300 printer from the handle, as it may break because the printer is heavy. Because the printer is heavy also, make sure to ask one of your colleagues to help you carry in the printer and place it on the table. Carry the QL-300 printer from the handles and place it on the table. Alright. Now we have the QL-300 printer on the table. What we can start doing is removing the protective tape from around the printer. We can remove this one here first. We can open the top cover from here in order to remove the tape easily. Also, we have the shipping bag right here. We can remove that as well. Notice that we have 5 toner cartridges, CMYK and white, and there are protective foams on top of each one. Also, we are going to remove them. We have also tape that keeps the lever of the toner cartridges in place. We're going to remove this tape as well. Okay, now we removed all the shipping tape. Notice that the toner cartridges are in the up position right now. We are going to engage them. We can engage them by rotating this lever counterclockwise to bring the toner cartridges down so they are engaged. So we repeat that for all 5 of them. Okay, now we can close the top cover. The top cover should close nicely and easily, like so. Alright, now we are ready to unpack the unwinder. To unpack the unwinder, we are just going to cut the tape from here. And here we have the unwinder. We can remove the shipping foam. The unwinder is also heavy. You may also want to ask a colleague to give you a hand carrying the unwinder. We can place the unwinder on the table now. And we can remove the plastic bag. I'm going to place the unwinder in this position. It's much easier for us. Next thing we want to do is to attach the unwinder to the printer. This is the cover of the unwinder. We are going to close it. We have this bag right here that has 3 screws that help us attach the unwinder to the printer. We also have these plastic clips in order to wind the USB cable or Ethernet cable correctly. We're going to put it on the side right here. For the unwinder, we have this adjuster. In case it's not all the way in the up position like this, make sure to rotate it in the up position. So right now it's in the correct position. Also, notice that we have a connector right here. This connector is going to connect with the printer. That's how the unwinder gets the power and communicate with the printer. To attach the unwinder to the printer, it's easier to be on this side. Now, locate the alignment pins. So you can see we have a pin right here. We also have pins on the bottom. And we also have this alignment or this mounting hole. So this pin is going to be aligned with this mounting hole. The whole thing is going to be flat with the printer and attached to it. So we can do it. Just carry it from here. Like this. I can repeat it from this side as well. We have this alignment pin, this mounting hole, and we have the connector on the bottom that is going to connect with this. In order to install it correctly, just make sure to align this pin with this mounting hole first and keep it flush with the printer. And now it's in place and it's attached to the printer. Now we can rotate the adjuster so it can connect or touch the table. Next, we are going to attach the 3 screws to the unwinder. So all you need is a Phillips screwdriver. Notice that 3 screws go, one right here, second one right there, and the third one is right on the bottom. And the plastic clips, they go right here. 1, 2, 3. So just press them down and we will use them to help us keep the USB cable or Ethernet cable connected nicely to the printer. Okay, now the printer is ready, so we can power it on. Okay, now that we connected the unwinder to the printer, we are ready to connect the power cable to the printer and turn it on. We can connect the power cable right here. Connect it to the outlet. And then press and hold the power button for 2 seconds and the printer will power on. Now the printer is going to do a quick maintenance and is going to check that all the parts are installed correctly. You can see it's initializing right now. And now it's ready to print. Simply click the back button and that will bring us to the main menu. Okay, we have the offset label right here that will help us as a guidance when we need to do offset adjustments when we are ready to print. You can place it anywhere that is convenient for you. Simply, I like to place it in this area, nice and flat or leveled, so I can always refer to it when I need to move the image up and down, right or left. We have this label also that has our technical support information and also phone number in case you need to order more supplies. I also like to place it in the front right here, or you can put it on the top so it's visible to everyone. Earlier we took that we have two models. We have 110 and 228 volts. In order to know what model you have, simply open the top cover and look at the written label right here. This model is 110 volts. When we open the top cover, we have access to the toner cartridges. The toner cartridges and image drums are connected together and they are replaced at the same time. To replace the toner cartridge, simply lift it up and get the new toner cartridge. When you want to install the new toner cartridge, notice that we have red arrow right here. It's going to be aligned with the red arrow that is on the printer and slide nicely. So just align them together and slide the toner cartridge in place just like this. And that's how you replace the toner cartridge. If you want to remove all toner cartridges at the same time, we are going to use the tray. There's one handle right here and the other handle is right here. By the way, everything blue with the printer is something movable or can be adjusted. Now, before we take the toner cartridges outside the printer, we want to make sure to put them in the up position, just in case there is something on the table so it doesn't come in contact with the image drums. So let's lift the toner cartridges up with this lever, just rotate it clockwise for all of them. Now we can lift the tray from this handle and from here as well. Lift it up and straight. And you can see at some point it kind of move to the front of the printer. And now we can place it on the table. The image drums on the bottom are light sensitive, so we want to make sure to cover the toner cartridges when they are outside the printer, or simply you can put them under a shelf if your table has shelves. For now, I'm going to cover them. Therefore, the image or the print quality doesn't get affected when we start printing. You want to cover them when you leave the toner cartridges outside the printer for more than 5 minutes. The next component is the transfer belt. We call it transfer belt because it takes the toner from the toner cartridges and transfer it to the label material. Also notice we have two blue handles and we have two locks that keep the transfer belt in place. It's very important to lock the transfer belt when it's installed. In order to remove it, simply unlock these two locks by rotating them counterclockwise. Hold the transfer belt from this side and lift it up on an angle, just like this. Now hold the other handle and lift it up. The more you lift it on an angle, the easier for you to move it. And we can place it next to the toner cartridges. The next adjustment that we need to do is for the sensors. If you look in here, we have a ruler and we have white line and we have triangle. The white line, that's the sensor that detects gap material. And the triangle detects material with black mark. Now that we took the transfer belt out, we have access to the gap sensor and the black mark sensor. you can see the ruler that we have in here. Right in front of it, there is white line and there is a triangle. The white line, this is the gap sensor, detects material with gap. And the triangle detects material with black mark. In general, you want the black mark sensor if you are printing on black mark material, or the gap sensor if you are printing on gap material, to be in the middle of your label. The printer can print on 1 inch minimum width. Therefore, if you are printing on narrow material, make sure to adjust the position of these sensors to the left side so they can detect narrow material. In order to move the gap sensor and black mark sensor to the left side, you can use the gear that is right here. In order to detect any width of material, we are going to move them to the left side near 20 millimeter or so. Notice that we move the black mark sensor and the gap sensor. This way we can basically detect any narrow material that we are going to print on. This is a perfect position for the black mark sensor and the gap sensor. On the other hand, we have the Unwinder right here. To open the Unwinder cover, simply press this down. Same thing to the printer. There is a gap and black mark sensor right here. Notice this white line right here. This is the gap sensor. And right in front of it, there is a triangle. This is the black mark sensor. We are going to adjust the position of them to match the position of the sensors that are on the printer. We can do that with this gear right here. Also keep them in the range of 25 or 20 millimeter. This way we can detect any narrow material that we print on. Alright, now we adjusted the sensors. There's another component I would like to show you. It's the internal media guide. The internal media guide is right here. It helps the material in moving straight inside the printer. In order to remove it, basically press this handle, this screw handle, like this, and lift it up, and then move it forward and take it outside. Here we have the edges of the media guide. In order to install it back in the printer, these edges need to go inside the track right here. You can see we have a track where the edge of the media guide can go in there. So simply grab the internal guide, place the edge of it in the track, move it forward, and then when it's all the way in, you can just press it down like this, and now it's in place. Next component I would like to show you is the transfer roller. The transfer roller is right here. It's responsible for transferring the toner from the belt to the label material. It cleans itself. You don't have to clean it. In order to replace it, simply lift these levers up, the blue levers or clips, one on this side and the other one on this side, and lift it up. Just like this. To install it, basically just go like that. It sits right in place. And these clips, they need to be pointing toward the back of the printer, and simply just close them. The next component I would like to show you is the fuser. The fuser is located in the front of the printer, and it's responsible for fusing the toner to the label material so it's durable. In order to remove it, open the latch right here, or the lock, hold it from this handle, and take it out slowly. Be careful not to touch any metal parts of the fuser because it's warm, it's very warm. So just hold it from the blue handle, and this is the fuser unit. When we want to install it, simply align it with the printer. And slide it inside. And of course, make sure to lock it. Now we took a look at the inside of the printer. This is very much everything you need to know about the inside of the printer. I just want to take the internal media guide out quickly and mention that these rulers require frequent cleaning in case there is adhesive or dust on them. So basically, you can take the internal media guide and clean it frequently, depending on how much printing you do. Installing it again is very easy. Just align the edges with the track, slide it in, and press it down. Again, our sensors right here are adjusted in between, for example, 15 to 22 or 25. This way we can detect any narrow material that we have. Now we want to install the transfer belt back in place. Remember, when we removed it on an angle like this, and we slided it up. Same thing when we want to install it. We want to install it on an angle, and then we can lay it down straight. Notice we have a red arrow right here, and we have this gear. This red arrow, it needs to be aligned with the red arrow right here, and the gear of the transfer belt, it needs to go right inside right here. So the best way to do it is to hold it on an angle, align the arrows, and make sure the gear slides in place straight. So just make sure it's going in straight. When it goes in like this, then you can basically let it slide in place nicely. And you can see there is no restriction or anything like that. If there is any restriction, that means we did not install it correctly from here. Now that it's in place, make sure to lock it by rotating the locks clockwise. The transfer belt is now installed. These connectors right here detects the toner cartridges that they are installed correctly. Be careful when you remove the toner cartridges and install them back in place. We have to protect these connectors so we don't get any error that toner cartridge is missing or anything like that. Alright, now we are ready to install the toner cartridges. Also take a look right here. We have an arrow on the toner cartridge tray pointing down, and we have an arrow on the printer as well, right here. We just have to align these two arrows together and keep the toner cartridge tray flat and leveled, and it will install correctly inside the printer. So let's hold it from this handle again, from the blue one, and let's come right here, align the two arrows together, keep it nice and flat, and it will slide in place easily. Notice that it goes down and then a little bit to the back of the printer. And now the toner cartridge tray is installed, and you can see that it's flush with the printer. Again, I can take it out quickly. Just align the arrows, keep it nice and flat, and it should slide in place. Remember, first we took it out, we lifted the toner cartridges so they don't touch anything that is on the table. Now we just have to engage them by rotating the lever counterclockwise, like this. And now we can close the top cover. On the Unwinder side, we have the cutter unit. The cutter unit, it's held in place with these two plugs. Simply move them toward the front of the printer, lift the cutter unit like this, and then you can place it back in place and lock it. This knob right here is to move the media guide. We move the media guide depending on the width of the label material. This part right here helps us to open or close the tension roller when we are ready to load the label material. Now we can close the cover of the Unwinder and the printer will go back to a ready state. At this point, we are ready to install the printer driver, design some labels, and start printing. Notice that we still did not connect the USB cable to the printer. We are waiting to install the driver first, and then we can connect the USB cable to the computer. Now that we prepared the printer, we are ready to install the driver. In order to get the driver, please go to our website, astronovaproductid.com. Click on Support, and then select Downloads. Select the printer model, QL-300. We have option to get the PCL driver, PostScript driver, or the firmware. We are going to use the PCL driver. Click on it and then click Download. I have already downloaded the driver into my computer, so I'm going to go to it right away. It will be saved like this: quick label QL-300 driver.exe. Double click on it and extract it. Once it's extracted, we have another folder right here. Double click on it, and you can see right on the bottom we have startup.exe. Double click on it to run the driver installer. Select the language. We are going to select English, United States. Click OK. Accept. Click Next. And in here, we can select whether we want to do Ethernet installation of the driver, network, or USB, called as Easy Installation Local. We are going to select Easy Installation Local. The printer that we have is 5 color. Therefore, we are going to select the Quick Label QL-300S. S stands for spot color white. Select this and click Next. And now the driver starts to install. At this point, it's asking us to connect the computer to the printer through USB cable, so we are going to do so. Grab one end of the USB cable, this end, connect it to the printer, and then the other end can be connected to the computer. And now the driver installation is completed. We can click Finish. Now that the driver is installed, we can go to the control panel and we can select View Devices and Printers under Hardware and Sound. And we can see a list of printers that are installed on this computer. As you see, now we have the Quick Label QL-300 PCL driver. If we unplug the USB cable, this printer will be grayed out, which means this is the correct printer that we are connected to. Now connect the USB cable again, and you can see now it's ready to be used. Now we are ready to design a profile and start printing. The label size, as the name, this one here is 2.5 by 3. By the way, inside each roll of label material, there is a label inside the core that include 8 digits part number. This is the part number of the label. The size 2.5 by 3. The material type 3 digits. This one here is 158 and it refers to the glossy paper. And also there are all the dimensions that we need for the driver. So we don't have to memorize or measure anything. All the information we need are listed in here. In order to design labels, we go to the control panel, devices and printers, right-click on the QL-300 and select Printing Preferences. From the Setup tab, click on User-Defined Paper, click on New Paper, and give it a name on the top. This label that we are going to print on is 2.5 inches by 3 inches. We are going to use the size as a name. It's easier to track. 2.5 by 3 inches. We move to the right side. Paper information. First one is media form. If we click, we have 6 options. We have continuous paper black mark, die cut label gap, and so on. You want to select one of the 3 options that are on the top. One of the very top 3 options. For this one, because it has black mark, we are going to select continuous paper black mark. If we were printing on gap label, we just select die cut label gap. For this one, we are going to click on continuous paper black mark. Now we are going to select the media type. This is a good time to refer to the media setting chart that came with the printer. This label material is number 158. We take a look at the chart. We have it listed in here, material 158. For the media type, we are going to select the glossy label, and for the media weight, it's going to be ultra heavy 3. Media type, glossy label, and media weight is going to be ultra heavy 3. This option here is for the sensor calibration. We can do this later if we need to. Now we move to entering the size of the label. The first one is black mark interval Y. If we click in here, we see a blue arrow. Indicates the space from the top of the black mark to the top of the next black mark. It's called black mark interval Y. It's listed in here. It's 3.375. The next dimension we need to enter is the paper width. Notice that this is the total width of the label from edge to edge, including the liner. For this label, it's 3.125. Just a quick summary. The white area right here indicates the total size of the label, total width and total length. The gray area right here, it indicates the total width and length minus the margins. Notice that we have margins right here, top, left, right, and also bottom margin, that they are imposed by the driver and we can't change them. So our printable area, it's going to be the gray area right here. It's the total width or the total dimension of the label minus the margins. This gray area should be the size of the template that we are going to design in CQL Pro labeling software, for example, or in Adobe Illustrator and so on. Okay, now we enter the media type, sensor type, and all this information and the sizes. Now we can click on Add. We have this message in here. This is just a warning message because our label length is less than 4.13, which is the minimum cut length on the QL-300. So this is just a warning message. We can just click OK. which means that our label length is less than 4 inches, so we cannot cut after every label. We have to cut after every 2 labels or 3 labels and so on. Now we are ready to load the label material into the printer. First of all, make sure to cut the label nice and straight and leave about 2 mm before the black mark. If we were printing on labels with gap, make sure to cut right in the middle of the gap, also leaving about 2 mm of label liner before the label. Open this latch, take the outer flange out, rotate this knob counterclockwise so we can slide the roll of label in here. Grab the roll of label just like this, insert it in the roll holder all the way, touching this edge. Rotate this knob clockwise until it clicks a couple times. Now we are going to insert this media guide. Of course, the flat side goes in first. Notice that we have a groove right here, and it's going to be aligned with this. Once it touches the label material, now we can close this lock, and now it's locked in place. Open the top cover of the Unwinder with this handle. Just press it down and lift the Unwinder up, the Unwinder cover up. Lift the tension roller up by clicking on this handle and lift everything up. Open the pinch roller. This is the pinch roller that grabs the label material and feed it inside the printer. Just open it with this lever right here. This is the media guide, and it's adjusted with this knob. Right now we keep it away from the label material, but once we install the label material, we are going to adjust it to be touching the label. So grab your label under the pinch roller all the way to this pin right here, and use it as your guide, so it should be touching it just like this. Now we can close the pinch roller, we can close the tension roller, and it's very important to adjust the media guide so it's barely touching the label material. Rotate the knob, so the media guide is barely touching the label material. By the way, adjusting this media guide is very important because there is a paper width sensor underneath it. If this was not adjusted correctly, let's say if it was all the way in here, the image will be shifted because the printer will think that we have a much wider material than what is loaded in the printer. Now everything is nice and closed. We can close the cover of the Unwinder and we are ready to print. Now we added the size in the driver, we are ready to print our first label. Open your PDF file or any template that you want to print. Click on File, Print. Select the QL-300 printer, click on Properties, and make sure to select the size that we just created. It's right here. Click OK. Set your quantity. We're going to send 6 labels and click Print. First time you send a print job, you are going to get this warning message. This is not an error. This is just a warning telling us that we changed the label material or a different size is being sent to the printer. Simply click OK, and the printer is going to print the very first labels that we sent to it. And now that we printed our few first labels, we can refer to the offset label if we need to make any adjustments. For example, if the image has to move up toward the printer, we know that we need to increase the Y offset. Say it has to move to this side, for example, we know that we want to decrease the X offset. In order to do that, go back to the driver. When you click on File, Print, click on Properties, User Defined Paper, and you can see right here we can make offset adjustment for X and Y depending on how we need to move the image. After you make the adjustment, then just make sure to click Overwrite so your profile can be updated. And this is how you can set up the QL-300 printer and print your labels. I hope you found this video helpful. For any information or support, please contact us at 1-401-828-4000. Thank you.